helping me.
Okay, I'm not gonna help you.
Nobody's
I'm
helping
not
me.
gonna fall
All
into
these men for what?
What do you want us to do?
What a lot of women do not want to admit is that this would be exactly them when they get into a situation like this. Because so many women have been fed the message that they have to be strong, that they have to be an independent woman, that is really where their value lies today. But when push comes to shove and they get into a situation like this, they're looking for a man to help them. I don't think there's anything weak about that. I think that's just knowing your strengths and knowing somebody else's strengths. The problem is when you're living in a very peaceful, calm state and you're not falling into situations like this, it's unfortunately a little easy to forget the value in somebody else. The problem is when so many women villainize men as a whole and they say that they'd rather pick the bear than be with a man. You don't realize that in the next instant, if they were out of their peaceful, calm state and they were in a situation like this, they would be looking to a man. And what do you think men feel about that? Because they know this. And do you hear the man in the background saying, how can I help you? Like he is willing to actually still help. And that is the majority of men. That's what a lot of women don't realize is that even though you bash them and you push them down, they are still coming up to the plate. And that should be admired.
I can't believe that our generation has to deal with these men.
I'm gonna save you 5 minutes to tell you the unbearable thing that these men did. Long story short, this girl lives in an area where there was a lot of snow. Her car got hit by somebody when it was parked, and then it got pushed into an area where she couldn't get out, okay? It was like covered in a bunch of snow, so she had to shovel the snow out from around her car so that she can move out of the parking spot. At one point, a man pulls up to her and parks behind her. And she assumes that this man is going to be getting out of the car to help her. And the guy just gets out and is like on his way to wherever he was going. She announces to him and she's like, hey, like, listen, like my car's stuck in snow. Like, you know, basically implying like, can you help me? And the guy was basically like, all right, you know, good luck with that, and continued on his way. Then fast forward, some woman pulls up and then helps get the snow out from under the car. Then actually calls over 3 men, and then some men help, you know, push her car out. So technically you still got help from a man, even though a woman was the one to initiate it. I stitched the video a long time ago. This is literally the exact same video, but it's just a different task of some girl who said she was moving furniture and then saw a group of men that just like didn't help her or offer to help when she was moving furniture. And the amount of women that think that they are entitled to getting a man's labor or getting a man's help strictly because they are a man is insane to me. If she just formatted this video and then changed it to, wow, you know, maybe as a society we don't help each other out enough, and you know, we should really like build a community, maybe then she would have a case. But you can tell that she specifically thought these men are bad because it was a man that didn't help her. And I always find the comment section of these videos so hilarious because it's just women just making up things that men don't even really say. Like this girl says, natural born protectors, by the way. Yeah, for like their loved ones, not random strangers. It's a male loneliness epidemic. Nobody says that. Like, you're making up fake statements and sentences to make yourself feel better for the fact that men aren't paying attention to you and helping you and doing the things that you want them to do. And posting little things like this, like you didn't come on the internet, basically throwing a temper tantrum because a man got out and went on his day, because at the end of the day, it's not his problem. He doesn't owe you his labor, because she clearly only has an issue because it was a man that didn't help her. That is why at the start of the video, she's like, these men ain't shit, this. And I guarantee you, if 2 women got out of the car in the beginning and didn't help, she'd be like, oh, you know, they can't help. They're just women. A man doesn't owe you any help. Whether you have a flat tire, whether you need help opening a door, carrying furniture, getting snow out from under your car, a man doesn't owe you any help. The same way it would be an unreasonable request if I was a single father and my kid was throwing a temper tantrum and then I see a bunch of women around. I'm like, is anyone going to help me calm my kid down? That is what you guys sound like. That's literally what you guys sound like by just constantly thinking that every single man there is there to protect and serve you, because no man claims that. No man's complaining there's a male loneliness epidemic. No man is saying that we're natural born protectors. We say that for the loved ones, our children, our wives, our mothers, our family, we are willing to do those things. I guarantee you that man, if he got out of the car and saw his wife, his girlfriend, his mother stuck in that snow, then yes, he would have helped her. The story, there's not an epidemic of bad men. There's just such an epidemic of women that think they are entitled to having men serve them. But that's just my opinion. But hey, what do you think?
We are fucked. We are fucked as a generation of women.
We are fucked as a generation of women. Let me tell you what. Oh my God. So I am on the highway, right? My freaking tire, my tire light comes on. I pull over at the gas station. My tire wall is busted out, right? I'm at a gas station. There's multiple men in work trucks, and I literally was like, can someone please help me change my tire? Like, I will pay you. All of them said no.
Right.
All of them said no.
That's okay.
This one man was like, do you need a jump off? I can do that. But you can't change a tire? I'm the most independent person, and this is probably the one thing that I've never had to do.
You're independent
because I grew up in a family of men. Of men. So, here's my life right now. I'm stressed. My boyfriend's on his way, but I was trying to get somebody who could do it quick because we live in LA and traffic is a fucking bitch. And I was crying. Like, I'm just a girl. What the hell? Literally, and all the men just kind of looked at me. One man was literally, his truck business said mechanic on it. And he was like, no, I can't.
Okay.
What do you mean?
He means he
What do you
can't.
mean?
Y'all act like whatever you want, people have to do it for you. They can't do it, and that's okay. You got a man, he's coming. Wait. Why the fuck are you even crying? Like, I wouldn't even go out of my way to go bother some guys who are around. I would have just been like, look, babe, my tire is flat. Whatever is going on with my tire, this is the problem. I need help. That's it. Why are you bothering people? And then have the audacity to cry when they tell you no. They don't have to do anything for you. With how shit is going right now, I wouldn't do it either. The hell? No shit. Giving it up to everybody else out there. Just giving it up for free. But you get a fiance, and now your fiance have to wait after you've been ran through. And you're gonna say, yeah, my fiance should wait. Because he respects my boundaries. The boundaries that you did not have before you met your fiance.
So you gonna give it up to all the other men, but you gonna make your fiance wait? Yes. Why you think he my fiance? Because he doesn't guilt trip me. He doesn't cross my boundaries. He has self-control.
This is fucking crazy. This is crazy. And they want men to just accept this bullshit.
Common sentiment I have been seeing is that if there were a group of women right there, they would have jumped in.
This isn't just a common sentiment, this is a statistical fact. In the comments section of people discussing the brick incident, you see women saying over and over again, a man has never protected me, but a woman has. And this falls right in line with what we know about the bystander effect. It is a statistical fact that proximity to a man puts you in more danger. And it is women who are more likely to come to your rescue. Men are more likely to be the bystander. This 2020 study found that despite ideas of chivalry, women are far more likely to help you than men. This 2015 study found the same thing. Men are less likely to help you. This 2014 study, men reported more intent to act as a bystander. And as recently as 2022, a meta-analysis of 85 studies found that women were more likely to intervene. And in every single one of these studies, the men had one thing in common that made them less likely to help. In every single study, men had a much higher acceptance of grape myths. They aren't intervening because they believe you deserve it. They believe you've done something, said something, worn something that makes you deserve this behavior. I'm going to say this for you again, clearly. The research shows men don't help women because they believe we deserve it.
A few moments later.
Some Korean men are refusing to help women. A few days ago, a woman in her 20s lost consciousness and fainted when she was on the subway. Apparently, there were a bunch of men in their 20s and 30s who refused to help, and saying something to the extent of, it has nothing to do with me, which got the women on the internet pissed. According to the Korean woman, the reason being, all able-bodied Korean men have to serve military service. They do learn CPR in the military. So it was expected for men in their 20s and 30s who likely just got out of the military to jump in and help because they know how to do CPR. But a lot of the men on the train didn't. And their reason being, they did not want to be accused of sexual harassment. There were a few incidents where men were actually accused for sexual harassment, for trying to help the women. Back in 2014, a South Korean woman had actually tried to sue a male EMT paramedic. for doing CPR and doing chest compressions on her. Although the paramedic wasn't charged or convicted with anything, since he was reported, he still had to go through an investigation. There was also another story shared of a Korean guy going up the steps in the subway station, and there was a woman in front of him seemingly about to fall. He put out his hands and tried to grab her from the back to prevent her from falling. The girl freaked out and called the police on him, and he ended up in the police station. That being said, these are all the men's side of the story. They'd rather be a bystander than getting their names tainted with SA. This all seems a little crazy to me. I mean, I get it if you don't want to touch the person because you don't know what's going on. At least call for help. What do you think?
That's interesting. So men don't help because they believe that you deserve it. We have right here, situation here, a woman is being helped, but then all of a sudden then she comes back and says, don't touch me that way, or don't do this to me. That's why a lot of men aren't helping. Right? Because, and I don't think we account for whatever the situation is, really, to be honest. It's like, well, the man didn't help me. When did he not help you? Right? Why did he not help you? What was the situation? Oh, well, it was during my period. Well, of course, I wouldn't know how to help you. Right? If it was a flat tire, probably not going to help you then, because I don't want to be called somebody that's a creep, or, yeah, no, I'm okay. I got it. I see you. But, oh, don't touch my baby, or get away. There's people that do that. Oh, I don't want any strangers around my baby. There's people that do that, man. So there's a plethora of different reasons why a man would stay away and he wouldn't assist. So what you're not saying is that, according to the bystander effect, when you look at that, people hesitate when responsibility is diffused. And also risk assessment increases with uncertainty, legal consequences, and escalation potential. So men face higher legal and physical risk when intervening. They have a greater chance of being arrested. They have a greater chance of being perceived as the aggressor, and they have a greater likelihood of retaliation. Okay, so most men, when we look at it, women tend to offer emotional support. They seek help and they intervene verbally. Somebody go get some help. Men, because they're strong enough to act, they would jump in. So you guys have a better chance at staying alive because you run and go get help. Run and get out. If somebody breaks into the house, the man's probably going to tell you to run and hide. Go call 911. Go call for backup. Go get help. He's going to jump into the situation. There was that famous A&E video that went around where the robber, the burglars came in and they had like guns, and the man, I think he was actually stunned, but he walked out of there. Took him a minute to get out of that, and jumped on the guy, took the gun, and chased the guys out of there. And you can see the whole entire time, they did an interview after it, the whole entire time, the woman was just kind of sitting there. I guess she was stunned. But men are more likely to do that. They're likely to intervene physically, step in where violence is imminent, and act when rules are clearer. So you got to let me know what's going on so I can jump in. This is the issue for a lot of men, and why they don't jump in is because it's unclear to me what's going on. A lot of modern women will leave the rules unclear, and this has been a common complaint of men. They keep on complaining about this. I don't know what's going on. You're gonna have me jump in there and get my behind whooped, and I don't want to do that. Or you should just be able to do this and that and just unquestioned loyalty to me. No, ma'am. You went out there and you caused an issue. I told you to stay your behind at the house. You didn't do it. It was another woman with her chest out, man. She had her chest out, bro. Had her chest out. And she talking about, how would you protect me? And the man was like, well, we need to establish why you need protection. Because if you come out the house wearing this, and I tell you not to wear that, and then you go out there wearing it, we need to figure out why we're getting to this point to where this man is in your face like this. If we get to that point and we establish that, then I can help you. Because if you go out and then you didn't have none of that on, and you wasn't being flirtatious like a lot of you like to be, I can say, hey man, I know I got it locked down. I know she wasn't messing with you. You was messing with her. You were being the aggressor. So now I can step in whether I lose or whether I win. I can step in and say, yeah, it was worth it for me. It was worth the risk for me to step in and take care of my lady. But men are done stepping in when stuff is like, well, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Men are done with that type of stuff. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not doing that no more. Gone are the days to where you guys get out there hollering and screaming in somebody's face. You go and start a storm, and then you expect the man to come in there and calm the storm. Man, fool around, get knocked out. That man could be put in a coma, dude. Oh, please help us with medical expenses. Thank you. Great. I appreciate you establishing a GoFundMe. But I'm still in a freaking coma.
Can we talk about the fact that y'all hate most of the men that y'all raise? Can we talk about that? And the fact that the men that y'all raised never seems to date women that look or act like you? Is it because they saw the different men coming in and out the house and they were like, you know what? I know that that's what I do not want. Or is it because your standards start and end with money? You don't care about integrity, moral character, morals and values. You just care about money. And they don't like it. And not to mention how much you talk down on black men, even their fathers, right in front of them, as if they're not a black man or black up-and-coming man themselves. And it's sad because they get a front row seat to see how you act, to see how you behave, how you treat people. And it just looks like it's something that they're not interested in. And the sad part about all of this is these men use you for a barometer of what they don't want to wife. And this is why you guys are single and not wives. So maybe you guys should be a better example to your sons, and maybe they wouldn't think of you as the bottom of the barrel. Can we talk about the fact?
You know, I say this all the time. My heart goes out to young boys who are living in this feminist society, who are observing women say things like, oh, I hate men. Or men are trash, or the deadbeat men are constantly complaining, have nothing nice to say about men. Imagine, as a young boy, you're in a household with a woman who never has anything nice to say about a man, the gender that you are, the thing that you are going to get older and become, a man. Never have anything nice to say about men. It can result in men wanting so much to be validated by black women that they side with black women. They agree with everything black women say. Even when it's to their own detriment, they will side with black women because they're so desperately seeking a validation of a black woman, the validation that they did not get growing up, and the validation that they realize that men don't get from black women. It's an ugly truth. It's a harsh reality. That is why we'll see these men who are son husbands and who are simps thinking that it's their responsibility to save the community, thinking that they should overlook a woman's mistake, a black woman at it, mistake, collecting her long titties, reproducing with the dusties. It's their responsibility to save them because hopefully that would mean black women will validate them. It's a sad reality. Those of us who can see it, and it just is what it is.
Some bullshit. I can't even lie, man. Anytime I go on a girl Instagram and she got hella vacations that she been to, and like posting like food and like designer bags and shit like that shit is instantly a turn off for me now. Like, I can't be the only guy that think like this, man.
If you've seen that video before, you already know the common consensus is that the reason why he has this opinion is because he's broke. But I, of course, want to add a level of nuance that nobody is talking about in regards to what he's saying. Remember that guy about 2 weeks ago that is married and came forward saying that he spent about $47,000 over the course of 5 years because he was going to massage parlors, getting handies while he was married? Men have the money, and if they don't have the money, they will figure out a way to create the money to get what it is that they want. The issue that he is having is with the fact that a woman having experiences means that he cannot breadcrumb her. When you're a woman that has given yourself a lot of experiences, you do things like fine dining, you do things like going on vacations, you get designer bags, designer clothing, you live a life of luxury. When you are a woman that has set that standard for yourself, that means that it's going to be extremely hard for a man to be able to come into your life and to be able to breadcrumb you by saying, oh, we could just go to Outback Steakhouse, or we could go to Applebee's, or trying to complain about, oh, well, you're ordering steak and we don't have that for our income and that doesn't fit within our budget. Meanwhile, he's over here with $30,000 sitting in his bank account. Meanwhile, he's dipping into y'all's joint account, using the money that you're putting in the joint account. Meanwhile, he's over here stacking up money on the side. It's unattractive for him because he's fucking greedy. He's fucking greedy, and it's much easier for him to be with a woman that has not had any experiences. She's never left her state. She's never left her hometown. She only got to go to Ruth Chris once when she graduated high school. The nicest bag that she can get is from the Goodwill. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but what I am saying is that men always are bargain hunters. And so they always want to get the biggest bang for their buck. It's literally the same thing that these men will get on Tinder. Hinge, Bumble, swipe away, swipe away, swipe away. And all they want to do is swipe into some punani. And they rather do that labor of matching, talking, going on a date, and constantly getting rejected over and over when they know that they want punani, instead of just hiring a sex worker and saying, you want to know what? This is a guaranteed way for me to do it. But no, they rather just invest time and effort at the lowest amount of money because they look at it like, you know what, I'm getting a bargain. That's what it is. Men do not want women that have experiences because it means that they're going to have to work harder. It's the same thing with body count. Any man that's asking your body count wants to know how much experience that you've had so he can gauge how lazy he can be in the bedroom. So he can gauge his penis size in comparison to the penis size of other men. So he can gauge the level of pleasure that he would have to give you in order for him to stay in your life. These men are always going to be turned off by the fact that you lived a life before them because it makes it harder for them to be able to cheat you out of providing you the level of experiences that you deserve to have. And so when you're already giving that to yourself, he's already thinking like, damn, I don't feel like going on vacation. I don't feel like taking her out the country. I don't feel like going to the nicest steakhouse. I don't want to go shopping at the Galleria or on Rodeo or all these nice places. I don't feel like doing that. I just want a woman that's going to be cheap so that way I can use my money to spend it on the things that I care about.
I'm trying to figure out where you mentioned that I'm not condoning, I'm just saying. I'm trying to figure out where you were talking about his needs were being met and taken care of. I mean, we can talk about, and once again, I'm not saying that he was right for doing it. 47,000 is a lot. Too much. He was going to these places and getting this, whereas he should have been able to get it from home. You can buy these women all these cars and all this stuff and everything and still not get what you need. Oh, well, I just feel like I'm tired. Oh, my leg's broken. Or the cat peed in my hair. That steak really did something to me. Can I take a rain check? That type of stuff. I owe you. The I owe you don't come until Valentine's Day 2 years later. That sort of stuff. These men can go in there, get done what they need to get done, and then walk back out. Now, I'm assuming that's why it's done. If you go out and get an escort, you can, I guess, go out there. It's going to be a quick transaction from what you can see, right? I mean, obviously, Hollywood is different from what you can see online, but you can go, really, honestly and truly, you can go on YouTube and you can see these types of transactions. Obviously, you're not going to see what they're doing, but you can kind of see the transaction. Hey, I want this. You want this? Yeah. All right. Get in the car. You get in the car. They drive off. You can assume that they didn't go on to do whatever's being done. And then maybe like a few minutes or so, they pull back up to the same spot. I mean, you can look right there on YouTube, man. It's right there on YouTube. So you're telling me and I've broken it down here, about $195 a week, I can get what I need and then just go on about my day, go on about my business. No hollering and screaming, no pushing and pulling, nothing. I can just get what I need and move on about my day. No back and forth and all that other stuff. No having to take care of you and get you to the right place and all that other stuff. What do you think a man's going to choose? Y'all talk about leaving and divorce, and I got to push and pull and prime you, and I got to take 20 or 30 minutes to get you to the place that you want to be, and then the conditions got to be right, the dishes got to be done, the air's got to be the right temperature, you got to have the right amount of food in your stomach, you got to be hydrated, you be stretched and all that stuff before we even get going. I'm ready to go to sleep now. Go ahead and turn on Netflix. Let's go ahead and go to sleep. Take a nap. Take it easy. Y'all are talking about all the other things that a man can spend money on. but he's not getting what he needs from you, as I think the point.
Watch this, we're gonna talk about it.
I do not tend to take a lot of advice from men, even the most successful men, as I do not think it is applicable to women and mothers in particular. I don't know Casey Neistat very well. He was like 15 years old and he had his first kid. And after breaking up with his then girlfriend at the time and the mother of his child at 17 or 18 years old, he moved from wherever they were in Connecticut and he moved to New York. And he talks about how that journey required him to be fearless, to have risk, you know, to be willing to have risk. He persevered, he was patient, but he was willing to kind of do the gritty stuff. He slept on somebody's couch. He lived in a halfway house. Like, he lived in a home with 10 other people, like whatever it might be. Like, he was willing to do the stuff that sucks to find success and whatever success meant to him. But he was willing to grind it out and to be very patient and to really persevere. And he keeps talking about that, how he was just like willing to do it. And the whole time I'm listening thinking, where's your kid? None of these things are possible with a 2-year-old baby. You can't sleep on somebody else's couch with your 2-year-old baby. You can't stay out till 4 a.m. with your 2-year-old baby. You can't live in a halfway house like that with a 2-year-old baby because he claims he bribed his way into it. Like, you don't do that with a 2-year-old. And he's talking about how he doesn't have money for a taxi or anything like that. And the whole time I'm thinking, where's this kid? This kid is probably with his mom. This kid is with his mom probably 90% of the time. She's probably doing 90% of the work, paying for 90% of the things, and raising him essentially on her own. And this is not to say that Casey's not a good dad, that he didn't participate financially or at all, because I don't know. He doesn't talk about it. And that is why I can't take his advice. I want to know what happened there. If it were a mother telling that story, you would know what she did for childcare, how she paid for everything for that child, where they lived, who supported her, what was her village like. Like, you'd know those things because those things were critical to her success if she had success. But for him, it wasn't critical because he had her. Men have women. That is the biggest lesson I've learned. When they tell us any kind of advice about how they became successful, it's because they had women supporting them. The problem is, if that woman, if she, his baby mama, wanted to do the same thing that Casey did, would that have been possible? Could she have left her kid with him for 90% of the time and participated slightly and maybe monetarily, but mostly was off sleeping on couches in New York City? Could she have done that? Probably not. And if she had, she would have been frowned upon for doing so. And that's the difference. He is held up on this pedestal for doing this work and for becoming successful and doing it the hard way. But if she were to do the same thing, she would be called a bad mother who put her career before her kid. And that is why I don't take advice from men, even successful men, because their advice is not applicable to women.
You know, women are frowned upon all the time for putting their career before their family, for putting education before finding a husband, while men are given the luxury. Like, these gender roles and expectations really seem to only benefit one gender. I mean, ultimately, someone does need to be there for the child. But if the mother is on her own and faced with providing for a child by herself, you would think people will understand why she put the career first. But as always, what are your thoughts? Like, share, follow for more. And if you're watching from YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But until next time, stay dangerous.
So we can hear what she's saying, both of them, but like, let's try to look at what actually happened. Because a lot of times people like to get on the internet and talk about what they think, right? Myself included. But like, let's look at what actually happened. What we know for sure is that Casey was 17 as a father. So we're looking at he and the child's mother, Robin Harris, initially raising the baby together in Connecticut. Very poor conditions. They're in a trailer. They're on welfare. He's working, I think, 60 plus hours a week washing dishes. When he's around 20, that relationship ends and he moves to New York City, right? So at that point in time, the child, Owen, I think is his name, is staying in Connecticut with his mom, who becomes the primary and full-time caregiver. Right. So at that point in time, mom is taking care of the day-to-day parenting. She becomes the de facto full custody parent. Child's not going with Casey. Obviously, I would hope not. He's moving to New York. Right. So you need something a little bit more stable. Right. While he's trying to figure things out. What gets left out, in my opinion, of her critique is Casey didn't actually disappear from the child's life. So he's coming back, visiting frequently on the weekends, whenever he has time to. He's coming back and actually visiting. He's staying involved emotionally. As soon as he has money, he's coming through. He's buying a house in Connecticut to be closer. He's taking his son on annual extended trips. He's maintaining a strong long-term relationship with his son. So we talk about this stuff and we have to understand that just because he's parenting from a distance, like a lot of people do, it doesn't mean that he's abandoning his son. And like I said, when he started getting more and more money and his career started stabilizing, then he was able to come back and take care of a lot of the stuff. See, I'll stop right there before I continue. A lot of times we hear women complaining about a man not having any money and a man being broke. But when the man says, okay, I'm going to do something drastic, and he goes out there and starts doing it, they forget desperate times. They're in a trailer park. He's working 60 hours a week to take care of his son. I think he was also at one point in time relying on the state welfare to feed his child, his newborn, by the way. You know how freaking scary that is, to not know where the meal for your child is coming from. He had to do that. So he says, there's time for a change. I got to make something shake. The man moves to New York, no money, one of the most expensive cities in the United States. And he says, I got to make something shake. Okay. You got to do something. Essentially, you got to make some sort of investment and let that investment play out. This is what a lot of modern women don't have the stomach for. They sit back at the house criticizing what a man is doing while they're comfortable working at McDonald's. And then when a man comes back home with the bacon, then all of a sudden, oh, give me some of that. Break me off some of that. You owe me. That's what I came back here for, is to make the rights wrong, or the wrong right, excuse me. I came back here to make sure I take care of all my responsibilities. I just had to get stable. I had to get back on my feet. You ain't complaining now when you're receiving the checks. That's what we don't hear from a lot of modern women. Okay, so let's look at the financial reality of the situation. Casey was extremely poor when he left. He had very limited ability to provide financially at first. That's what we just talked about. There's no public evidence that he was freeloading or refusing responsibility. And as his income grew, his support increased. We know that, okay? What we do not know, we don't know the exact custody paperwork. We don't know child support arrangements, if they even had any claim of neglect or misconduct, right? So even she has to admit, I don't know, he doesn't talk about it, yada, yada, yada. So stop all that nonsense. Let's get to the key takeaways of this thing. The mother did carry most of the child care burden, right? That was structurally necessary once they separated, okay? But it was not hidden, wasn't a secret. He didn't deny any of this, right? He never claimed to be a single parent. He never claimed that, oh, I'm just this perfect man, I'm doing everything, yada, yada, yada. His success story wasn't even about that. His success story was about taking risks. Get out there, do whatever you need to do, and reap the rewards. It wasn't about parenting logistics. Y'all like to focus on, well, I can't take this, and this. Even you are relying on your own husband. This woman is married. Even you are relying on your own husband to do a lot of this stuff at the house, so you can go out there. You just went to something con or whatever it was. I can't remember the name of it. Guess who was taking care of the kids? Your husband. And you can't take advice from men? I mean, they just say a lot of stuff, but they don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they're talking about. You go out there and it didn't even sound like you were making money or trying to make money. It just sounded like you went out there to have some sort of kumbaya. Y'all be trying to make it seem like men just out there not doing anything. Men just out there abandoning your, where is the logistics? Where's this? Where's that? I got to know what the woman's doing, this, and you didn't tell us. Let me go ahead and bring up that video because y'all think I'm lying. Y'all think I'm lying.
Most mornings as a working mom of four, I am up before the sun getting kids ready for school. But today I am heading to the airport for CrookedCon in DC. There is something so energizing about stepping away from the routine to gather with people who care about making change. People who are connecting, creating, and inspiring each other through their work. The day was packed with incredible panels and conversations. What stood out most were the moments in between, meeting people doing this work in real life, and even having healthy debates that push the conversation forward. I got to meet the hosts of Hysteria and Strict Scrutiny and hear firsthand how they use storytelling to drive action and hope. It reminded me that we're stronger when we show up together. If you couldn't make it and want to hear the conversations, panels, and all of the other fun stuff we got into, Crooked will be sharing live from CrookedCon episodes on the Pod Save America, Pod Save the World, Hysteria, and Strict Scrutiny podcast feeds. Check them out on SiriusXM or wherever you get your podcasts.
Because y'all think I be BSing. Yep. Y'all think I be lying about this type of stuff. Where in there, in that video, did she say anything about logistics, about who gonna keep the kids, when and where? I got kids. how they get into school, who's gonna pack their lunch, who's gonna pick them up from school, nighttime routines. I don't know nothing about that. I'm gonna be in DC trying to make this money or connecting with somebody else, moving the conversation forward. And you know, somebody with integrity, I can't really listen to what you're talking about right now because I don't know the logistics of everything. I can assume that the dad is at home, even though he's working full time. I can assume that he's taking care of the kids. And if that's the case, I can't respect what you're saying. I can't take your advice to grow and move forward, knowing that he's at home taking care of the kids for the next couple of days or next few days or however long you're there, doing all of the work, 100% of the work. And you just get to here and there call them and say, hey, where are the kids? I want to talk to the kids. I want to check on the kids over FaceTime. I can't respect that. I don't respect anybody that does that, to be honest with you.
You know how I realized as a single mom that it does not matter how much gray you have, how many kids you have, or what the fuck you have going on. Any man of any age is going to be okay with you, and you are never going to be alone. If you want some fucking love, you can find love, okay? I was struggling after my divorce, waking up every day out of the fucking depths of my darkness. And I would forget to put the fucking trash out every week. So every week I would hear the fucking trash come and I would run outside and meet the trash man and be like, actually he was the recycle dude. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Can you help me? And this motherfucker would help me bring all my boxes and load them in his truck. He would let me like load them in and throw them in sometimes too. And I was like, oh my God. He was a lot younger than me though. I was 38 and he was 28. So he was 10 years younger than me and it was very obvious. And you could see my kids inside and I came out every day looking like shit. So I was like, no way does this kid look at me that way. But then one day I was like, fuck, it's recycle day. And I don't got time to be out there talking to this kid for like 30 minutes because every time he picks up the trash, he wants to fucking chit chat with me. And like, as I was saying the words out loud, I was like, oh, he's maybe he's into me. So then that day I was like, hey, listen, I don't have a lot of time to chit chat. I know we usually sit here and talk, but you know, like, would you want my number? I don't know what's going on, but would you want my number? Maybe like we can hang out. I don't know. He goes, fucking finally, I'm at work. I can't hit on you. I can't ask you for your number. If you were to tell my boss, I would be in so much trouble. I was waiting for you to say something. Fuck yeah, I'm interested. And the rest is fucking history.
So somebody in the comments said, no, ma'am, this is not history because I don't know you and I want to know what happens next. Another woman says, right? You married now or what? No, she's not married. I think this is somebody else's story. She has been struggling for a while. It's not doing great. The fact of the matter is, men have been telling you this. If you act like you have some common sense, if you act like I'm going to be some sort of priority to you, then I'll entertain you. I'll give you a chance, right? Or, you know, I'll give this a chance, this relationship, us a chance. You'll be on the same playing field as any other woman that I come across, right? Because I see value in you and you bring value to the table. We both bring value to the table. But if you're like most of these modern women out there that feel like a man should be so happy to talk to them and so happy to be in their presence and privileged to be in their presence, then we're going to have a problem. There's men out there that will date and talk to single mothers. Seriously. But y'all's attitude is so bad. Everything that you talk about is so bad. It's nothing but a problem. And so they're like, man, I'm not dating these types of women. And they leave. That's usually what happens.
I can see now why men pull away emotionally because it just happened to me today and I got to see from a man's point of view what it's like to date a woman sometimes. This is no shade towards women in any way because I'm a woman. I completely understand and I'm sure I do this as well. But it was funny because I came home, me and my sister lived together, and as soon as I get in the house, she just starts bitching at me about things that she wished I was doing, like cleaning the cat's litter box, setting up certain appointments, whatever it was around the house. And then all of a sudden I was thinking, like, no wonder I always just go to my room. Like, I don't want to be around you when as soon as they come into the door, you're just kind of nagging. What I was realizing is women do this all the time. We emotionally need to regulate. Like, there are certain times that you say, okay, if I want to actually get my partner to do something for me, because all that did is made me want to pull away and be like, fuck you, I'm not going to do it. And I can understand why men never do what you want them to do. You're like, I've told you a million times to do this, I've told you to do this, and you're like, why can't I get him to do things? Because you're not saying it in the best way.
If you really just believe that men are valid in their experience and in their emotions, for example, when they say that they don't want to be bombarded the second that they walk in the door from work, believe them that that is a valid thing, that they should have some downtime the second that they walk in the door. Unfortunately, not all women get this, and they actually will either one, have to experience it themselves like this woman did, or two, they just will never get it. And they're going to be fighting this constant battle of pretending like what men want and their feelings are not valid and that men are just always the ones in the wrong. And the truth is that the man of the last woman deserves better.
So I just got followed by a man for multiple blocks and eventually had to, in the middle of the park, get up and scream multiple times, can somebody help me? This man is following me, because no matter how much I walked and how much I moved, he kept trying to fucking follow me and harass me. So just another day. I literally had to scream at the top of my lungs multiple times for somebody to come and help me. And you know who the first person was to come help? A woman.
Girl, ain't nobody worried about you. Leave folks alone. Go inside and get something to eat.
My problem is that I hate men, you know?
Lots of women think it's like a female empowerment, I'm a strong woman thing to say that you hate men. On the contrary, when a woman says she hates men, it's usually a telltale sign that she has terrible, horrific experiences with men, and that she allows toxic men into her life, into her love life, into her bedroom. The question isn't, are men toxic? Because there will always be toxic men and women in the world. The question is, why are all the toxic men in your life? Why have you allowed men to treat you so badly that you now hate them?
The answer to that question is simple. Modern women love toxic men. They make her feel excitement and extreme emotions. Good men are boring in the eyes of a lot of these modern women.
Is it pathetic to admit that I want to be in love? That I want a boyfriend?
I'm 25, not married, actually never been married, no kids. Can anyone else relate?
Why are single men happier than you think? A lot of single men are not actually miserable. A lot of them are doing better than fine. Society likes to push the idea, oh, men are lost without a woman. That's a lie.
We've been seeing that with the so-called male loneliness epidemic, the majority of people talking about it are just bitter women who can't stand that men aren't bending to their will, so they have to make up these bonkers ideas of men being more miserable than they are.
For years now, men have been told that their happiness only comes from marriage and kids and overall settling down. But modern relationships don't offer men the same benefits that they used to. Men aren't wrong for asking what's in it for me before they go into a really serious relationship. Single men today have financial freedom and overall peace of mind. They have control over their own lives. They're traveling, building businesses, hitting the gym, and overall going after their goals. And until women are willing to offer a little bit more in relationships, this is going to continue. Holding men to these outdated expectations, but also a variety of new ones that show up every single day, is just not doing it for them. And they're not going to continue having relationships if this keeps up.
I'm telling you, man, I'm serious about this. These modern women think that men gonna sit up here and mess around with you. That they gonna sit up here and take your BS over and over again. Y'all are losers, man. That's the long and short of it. Y'all are losers, man, and men are tired of that.